ultimately, like, can we strike a balance for this fourth movie? Like, are we okay getting into a fifth movie? I mean, are we really going to complain about more Art the Clown?
To be honest, Art, like this is a franchise where you could give me fucking 20 of them and I will watch every single one religiously and be very happy about it because like Damien is one where, other franchises like the people who originated the franchise and who started it kind of like drop off along the way. But Damien, I feel like this is his baby and he would never let anybody else touch it. So like as long as there's Art the Clown, Damien is going to be behind it and David is going to be behind it playing him. And as long as we have that combo, you could make fucking 50 of them. I'll be in the theater every single time. Don't care.
That's a perfect. Like I was gonna follow up with like, do you think? And like I don't know. I've never heard Damien speak about this out loud. But do you think there's a world where he executive produces sequels? Because at some point he's going to want to move on as just a creative individual. Like that's why he's like, oh, four is the end, or maybe five. Would you sign off as a Terrifier scholar? Would you sign off on a Damien Leone executive produced, by a hand-picked director, writer, like somebody who like has to pitch to the Don himself and say like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like this is my idea for this movie. He has to still oversee it and produce it, but are you cool with the idea of Terrifier 10 being directed by somebody else?
Honestly, as long as he's involved with some way, and I would say as long as he still is in charge of the practical effects, sign me up.
Yeah, he has to oversee. Like he's like, this isn't gory enough. Like
Yeah.
I didn't see the guy's balls explode. Like what's going on
Yeah.
here,
Like, what are
guys?
you
Like that's
doing? This is
you
weak.
missed you missed the opportunity there, folks. Shoot it again.
Yep.
I think,
Exactly.
and before we get to our last category, I think that is where, again, if you even if you're not like the hugest fan of Terrifier, which I think we can all tell that we all like Terrifier, but the one thing I appreciate about this franchise more than anything, as a devout, Nightmare on Elm Street fan, as a devout Scream fan, is that without the big studio involvement, Damien Leone still controls everything.
Yeah.
Isn't Sony saying, hold on now, we don't want to pay Nev Campbell, so now you got to write a movie without her. This
That's
isn't
so
this isn't
true.
a this isn't a studio saying, "Oh well, Robert Englund doesn't want to come back. Well, let's just remake it and put in this other guy and make a really god awful, terrible, fucking terrible remake." Like that. You know what I mean? Like they're not input. They're not saying, "Well, we'll take it away from you. We're going to make it our own, and we're just going to throw somebody else behind the director's chair, somebody else in the writer, a new Art the Clown." Like Damien owns this, and this is
Yeah.
his thing, and I think that's why. Like, I don't want them to get. I want them to. Listen, they made $21 million opening weekend. They're going to have a bigger budget for Terrifier 4. We all know that.
Yeah.
I don't want this to be Sony's Terrifier 4. I don't want this to be Paramount Pictures presents Terrifier 4. Let Damien Leone do his thing, because that to me is the authenticity of this film. I don't want it taken, because listen, Sean S. Cunningham created Friday the 13th and he moved on and did other things, and that just became a whole other thing far away from what he
Hmm.
did. Wes Craven, of course, with Nightmare on Elm Street. I want this to stay Damon Leone's. I don't want anyone else involved, at least for now, because unfortunately we do get those bastard version of films down the road where it does become, hey, we just don't want to pay Nev Campbell, so we don't want to pay Lauren Lavera, so she's just not going to be in the next. Fuck you. Like, that's what I say to
Yeah.
that. Like, fuck you.
Yeah, and I feel like the success that they've had this weekend is just proof to like not even just the fan base, but to them that they don't need this big studio backing. And I love it because it's almost like a big fuck you to like the Joker, same opening weekend, and it fucking blew that shit out of the water, like didn't even come close. So he doesn't need him. And I think now he definitely knows he doesn't need him. So I see him sticking with this for a while.